Ladies and gentlemen, our special guests for this special interactive session are here in the hall. Please welcome Mr. John Bailey and his wife, Ms. Khare Littleton. A warm welcome to you. Namaskar and a very pleasant afternoon to all of you. On behalf of Directorate of Film Festival, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, I extend a heartiest welcome to all our esteemed guests who've joined us today for this very special initiative, an interactive session specially organized to welcome Mr. John Bailey, the President, Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences. I am pleased to welcome Mr. John Bailey and his wife, Ms. Khare Littleton. Mr. Amit, Khare, Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Justice Manmohan Sareen, Chairperson, Film Certification Appellate Tribunal. Shri Prasoon Joshi, famous lyricist, screenwriter, poet and Chairman, Central Board of Film Certification. Mr. Shashi Shekhar Vempati, CEO, Prasar Bharati. Heads of Media Units under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. All the dignitaries, film critics, filmmakers, film journalists, students from various film institutes, and, of course, our friends from the media. Ladies and gentlemen, this interaction will throw insight into the thought leadership of Oscars and will also be informative for the various key stakeholders attending this event who can actually understand the nuances behind the craft of cutting-edge filming techniques and develop an understanding about creating world-class content. This interaction will also help highlight the various financial incentives being offered to foreign filmmakers to shoot in India. And of course, this would also present a very important opportunity for us to explore the various possibilities of collaboration with the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences for International Film Festival of India. And we are going to, of course, have the Golden Jubilee edition of it this year. So this makes this interaction all the more special for each one of us. And for this interactive session, as we all know, Mr. John Bailey is here with us, the President of Academy Awards. Mr. Bailey is an American cinematographer and film director, best known for his collaborations with director Paul Schrader, Michael Apted, and Ken Kwapis. In 2017, Mr. Bailey was re-elected as the President of the Academy Awards, and we are indeed pleased to have you with us, Mr. Bailey. Let's have a big round of applause for Mr. John Bailey. Thank you. And now may I please request Shri Amit Khare, Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, to please come on stage. I also request Mr. Chaitanya Prasad, Additional Director General, Directorate of Film Festival, to welcome Secretary, Information and Broadcasting, Shri Amit Khare. We are going to welcome our guests by presenting a colorful bouquet of flowers. Welcome Secretary I&B, Mr. Amit Khare. I also invite on stage Justice Manmohan Sareen, Chairperson FCAT. And I request Secretary I&B to kindly welcome Justice Sareen and present him the bouquet of flowers. We will now welcome Mr. Prasoon Joshi, Chairman CBFC. Request Mr. Amit Khare to kindly welcome Mr. Prasoon Joshi. I now invite Mr. Shashi Shekhar Vempati, CEO Prasar Bharati, on stage. I request Mr. Prasad to kindly welcome Mr. Vempati. And ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed honored to have with us Mr. John Bailey and his wife, Ms. Khare Littleton. I take this opportunity to invite both of you on stage. Mr. John Bailey and his wife, Ms. Khare Littleton. May I kindly request Secretary I&B, Mr. Amit Khare, and Justice Sareen to felicitate Mr. John Bailey and Ms. Littleton. So we are going to first present the bouquet of flowers. And now we'll be presenting a shawl to Mr. John Bailey. A warm gesture of welcome from us for you. That's the traditional way to welcome our guest, Mr. Bailey. And now we're presenting a memento to Mr. Bailey. And we do hope that the fragrance of these flowers will symbolically last forever. And to make this event a blessed one, I would request all our esteemed guests on stage to kindly come forward for the auspicious lamp lighting ceremony. I request Shri Atul Kumar Tiwari, Additional Secretary I&B Ministry, Shri Ashok Parmar, Joint Secretary of Films, to kindly join our guests on stage for the lamp lighting ceremony. May I please also request Mr. Rahul Ravel to join our guests for lamp lighting ceremony. This is a traditional ceremony which is considered auspicious, and this is to actually invoke Goddess Saraswati, the embodiment of knowledge and wisdom. Saraswati Mahabhage, Vidye Kamal Lochane, Vidya Rupe Vishalakshi, Vidyam Dehi Namostute. This actually means, O lotus-eyed Mother Saraswati, kindly bless us with knowledge and humility. An auspicious beginning to this interactive session with Mr. John Bailey. Thank you all. You're all requested to kindly take your seats.
He knows how to shoot.
Ms. Littleton, could you come forward? Yes. That completes the picture. Thank you all. Mr. Ashok Parmar to welcome the gathering. The welcome.
Respected Secretary Sri Amit Khare, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Madam Carol, wife of Mr. John Bailey, Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, Mr. John Bailey, President and today's esteemed guest, Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, Justice Mohan Sareen, Chairperson, Film Certification and Appeal Tribunal, Sri Prashan Joshi ji, Chairperson, CBFC, Sri Atul Tiwari ji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Information Broadcasting, Sri Vikram Sahai, Joint Secretary, P&A, and all heads of media units. It's a very long list, so I cannot speak everybody's name, but bear with me. Ladies and gentlemen and friends, it's my honor and privilege to welcome Mr. John Bailey, who is President, Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. This is his historical visit, and from USA, I think he's visiting first time India, and is trying to understand the Indian films, nuances of Indian films, and how to integrate Indian films with global films award mechanism. I would like to brief the audience as well as Mr. John Bailey regarding brief journey of Indian cinema over the years. India has a rich cultural background in cinema, has always been a major tool in showcasing its vibrant culture on the silver screen. The father of the Indian cinema, Dada Saheb Phalke, made and released the first feature-length silent film, Raja Harishchandra, in 1913, which was a commercial success. The films that followed dealt with topics that were derivatives of the Indian mythology and folklore. Mohini Bhasmasur, 1914, will remain a significant film in Indian history for introducing Kamlabai Gokhale, the first woman to act in front of the camera. Other films with mythological themes that came out of India at that point were Satyavan Savitri, 1914, Satyavati Raja Harishchandra, 1917, Lanka Dahan, 1917, Sri Krishna Janma, 1918, and Kaliya Madan, 1990. By 1920, India was producing more than 27 films a year, which was a big number. Contrary to popular belief, Indian cinema is not only about song and dance. On one hand, we have the colorful Indian mainstream cinema, often referred to as Bollywood, which draws from the tradition of theatre and uses high doses of melodrama as a narrative tool. On the other hand, we have the subtle, more realistic parallel cinema, which deals with day-to-day struggles of regular people, often belonging to lower economic strata of the society who are suffering from the poverty. A suitable example can be Achyut Kanya, 1936, which dealt with the caste-based atrocities that was prevalent in the Indian society. After India got independence in 1947, there was a dire need to build a sense of national integration. At that point, cinema proved to be an important medium of mass communication. Uday Shankar's Kalpana, 1948, masterfully depicts the importance of unity and also captures some of the rare footage of various dance forms from the remotest corners of the India. So from the late 1940s to 1960s, India witnessed the emergence of parallel cinema on a large scale, also referred to as golden age of Indian cinema. It was inspired by Italian neorealism, a film movement that focused on the poor and working classes. In 1955, Satyajit Ray directed Pathar Panchali, the story of a little boy living in rural Bengal, which eventually took the world by storm. The film not only is a cinematic masterpiece in terms of technique and imagery, but it is also an extremely poignant and human story. The Apu trilogy by the same director later became a classic and is still relevant and gets screened regularly at various places across the world even today. Similarly, directors like Ritvik Ghatak and Mrinal Sen questioned society, critiqued political authorities via their films like Megha Dhaka Tara 1960, Mage Dhaka Tara 1916, and Kolkata 1970 respectively, among others, which are well known all across the world. Abdul Gopal Krishnan, Malayalam cinema, Girish Kasarvalli, Kannada cinema, K.N.T. Sastry, Telugu cinema, etc. also worked in a similar direction and hence can be called the pioneer of Indian parallel cinema. Indian cinema is cinema basically films being made by individuals in Hindi as well as various other Indian languages without the financial backing of mainstream studios. Recent trends in India regarding this film industry is that India is the largest producer of the movies in the world, with around 1800 films produced in 2018. 13 films joined the INR Indian rupees 1 billion club in 2018 as compared to 9 in 2017. The class of films in 2018 proved that Content was the king, and it was story that made it feel successful. In the age of digital revolution, the means of access to the films for consumers have increased abundantly through multiple over-the-top platforms, over-the-top video on-demand platforms like Amazon, Netflix, Hotstar, Voot, ALT Balaji, Sony Live have become very active looking for exclusive deals with production houses and producing own content. There are over 40 OTT platforms in India offering services at very competitive rates. Overseas theatrical releases have emerged as an important avenue for producers, giving them an additional safety net. We would like to have this opportunity to interact with you, Mr. John Bailey, and we need your guidance that how Indian films can be promoted and get the chance to have a prize in Oscar Film Festival, Oscar Award, or other international film festivals. I think your guidance that how the sensitivity of Indian films can be modified, or how they can make the films, how can they even apply for the films in the film festival and Oscar Award films. So we are thankful to your visit, and I think you would understand Indian cinema after this visit, and you will love India, and you will frequently visit India. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parmar. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are all aware, India has been the largest movie producer worldwide. In fact, Indian film industry is a multi-million-dollar industry. It is a leading film market in the world too. And now we are going to present before you a few audio-visual presentations. We are in fact going to show you 3 films. One film will be on Indian cinema, history of Indian cinema. As we all know, our Indian cinema has completed 100 years, and that was in 2013. And we are also going to present before you a film on IFFI, that is International Film Festival of India. And this year is very special, as we all know. We are going to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of IFFI. These 2 films have been produced by the team of DD News. And there's a third film which we are going to show you, that is a film on Film Facilitation Office, which is a special initiative undertaken by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And the aim is to make things simpler for foreign filmmakers in India. So let's enjoy these films.
The International Film Festival of India, founded in 1952, is one of the most significant film festivals in Asia. And annually, currently in the state of Goa, termed as Land of the Sun and Sand, the festival aims at providing a common platform for cinemas of the world to project the excellence of the art of film, contributing to the understanding and appreciation of film cultures of different nations in the context of their social and cultural ethos, and promoting friendship and cooperation among people of the world. The first edition of IFFI, organized by the Films Division, Government of India, was non-competitive, had 23 countries including the United States participating, with 40 feature films and about 100 short films. From the third edition in January 1965, IFFI became competitive. The third edition of the festival was chaired by Satyajit Ray and was graded A category. With this recognition, the festival in India came on par with Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Karlovy Vary, and Moscow International Film Festivals. Following this recognition, India adopted at its 5th festival in 1975 a permanent insignia comprising a representation of the peacock, India's national bird, with a permanent motto of the festival, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Since 2004, the International Film Festival of India became globally competitive and moved to its permanent venue, Goa. With each passing year, IFFI gets more vibrant. IFFI 2018 was packed with great cinema, open forums, workshops, master classes, in discussion, and many more events all under one roof. The 49th edition of the International Film Festival of India in Goa ended in great style, as the government has started preparations for the Golden Jubilee edition. The 50th edition this year would showcase the film culture of each and every region of the country and trace the history of IFFI from the 1st to the 49th. Facilities at Goa would be enhanced, given the overwhelming response received from film lovers all over the world. India is the largest producer of films in the world and second oldest film industry in the world, which originated nearly 105 years ago. The country produces more than 2,000 films a year in several languages with its diverse, rich heritage and an old tradition of filmmaking. Indian films are filled with music, action, romance, comedy, and an increasing number of special effects. It encloses a number of several art forms like Indian classical music, folk music, and dance of different regions throughout the country. Marking a golden era this year will be 50 strong years of IFFI as a festival.
जब भी चांद को देखता हूँ तो माँ की याद आती है.
I ought to say I'm not supposed to know where I'm taking this boat, so I don't. But one look at you and I know it's going to be hot.
Expect the unexpected. It's going to get bigger and bolder. See you at IFFI 2019. The history of Indian cinema goes back to the 19th century. In 1896, the very first film shot by the Lumiere brothers was shown in Mumbai. But history was actually created when Harishchandra Sakharam Pratapdekar, popularly known as Sabidada, the still photographer, was so much influenced by the Lumiere brothers' production that he ordered a camera from England. His first film was shot at the Hanging Gardens in Mumbai, known as The Wrestlers. It was a simple recording of a wrestling match screened in 1899 and is considered as the first motion picture in the Indian film industry. Then began the journey of Indian cinema, when the father of Indian cinema, Dada Saheb Phalke, released the first ever full-length feature film, Raja Harishchandra, in 1913. The silent film was a commercial success and was the first ever Indian film screened in London in 1914. Numerous new production companies emerged in the early 1920s. Films based on mythological and historical facts and episodes from Mahabharata and Ramayana dominated the 20s. But Indian audiences also welcomed Hollywood movies, especially action films. Then came the first sound film in India, Alamara by Ardeshir Irani, screened in Bombay in 1931. It was the release of Alamara that started a new era in the history of Indian cinema. Thereafter, several production companies emerged, leading to an increase in the release of the number of films. 328 films were made in 1931 as compared to 108 in 1927. During this time, huge movie halls were built and there was a significant growth in the number of audiences. During the 1930s and 1940s, many eminent film personalities such as David Kibos, Chetan Anand, S.S. Vasant, Nitin Bose and many others emerged on the scene. Not only did the country witness the growth of Hindi cinema, but the other language film industry. also made its own mark. The birth of modern Indian film industry took place around 1947. The period witnessed a remarkable and outstanding transformation of the film industry. Notable filmmakers like Satyajit Ray and Bimal Roy made movies focusing on the issues of the time. In the 1960s, new directors like Ritvik Ghatak, Mrinal Sen and others focused on the real problems of the common man. They directed some outstanding movies which enabled the Indian film industry to carve a niche in the international film scenario. The 1950s and 1960s are considered to be the golden age in the history of Indian cinema and saw the rise of some memorable actors like Guru Dutt, Raj Kapoor, Dilip Kumar, Meena Kumari, Madhubala, Nargis, Nutan, Devanand, Wahira Rahman, among others. It would not be appropriate if the contribution of music in Indian cinema is not mentioned. Songs are an integral part of Indian movies. The presence of songs has given Indian films a distinctive look as compared to international films. The Indian film industry has produced many talented lyricists, music directors and artists.
मौत जो एक कविता है, मुझसे एक कविता का वादा है, मिलेगी मुझको.
Audiences were captivated and mesmerized by the aura of actors like Rajesh Khanna, Dharmendra, Sanjeev Kumar, Hema Malini and many others.
हवा के साथ साथ घटा के संग संग, हवा के साथ साथ घटा के संग संग, ओ साथी चल चल तू, मेरे साथ चल तू, हाथों में हाथ चल तू, साथी चल.
Surely the groundbreaking film directed by Ramesh Sippy won international acclaim. Several women directors like Meera Nair, Aparna Sen and others showcased their talents in the 1980s. How can we forget the extraordinary and splendid performance of Rekha in Umrao Jaan in 1981? The 1990s saw a whole new batch of actors like Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Madhuri Dixit, Amir Khan, Jul Chawla, Chiranjeevi, among others.
नहीं तो ये केस यही रफा दफा कर दूंगा. ना तारीख ना सुनवाई, सीधा इंसाफ, वो भी ताबड़तोड़.
This new genre of actors used new techniques to enhance their performances, which further elevated and upgraded the Indian film industry. 2008 was a notable year for the film industry here, as A.R. Rahman received 2 Academy Awards for Best Soundtrack for Slumdog Millionaire. Indian cinema is no longer restricted to India. and is now being well appreciated by international audiences. The contribution of the overseas market in Bollywood box office collections is quite remarkable. With time, India's other language cinema is also breaking boundaries. Content-driven, other language films are no longer isolated by language. The involvement of established Bollywood names and top studios has even taken them overseas. The spectacular success of the war epic Bahubali II, The Conclusion, a Tamil-Telugu bilingual dubbed in Hindi, took this cinema to new heights in 2017. Gujarati films registered a 44% increase over 2016 in terms of transactions, followed by Malayalam movies that registered a 33% rise. Marathi and Bengali cinema has also shown an increase in movie production. The Northeast too has shown a rapid growth in filmmaking space, even producing Oscar-nominated film Village Rockstar by Veema Das. Not only this, Indian states altogether are rapidly moving ahead in creating awareness among filmmakers about their potential for filmmaking. Jharkhand is a splendid example. It was the focus state of IFFI 2018. Youth in today's film industry are taking cinema to new heights, carrying forward the legacy of the past masters. Today, Indian cinema has become a part and parcel of our daily lives. Whether it is a regional or a Bollywood movie, it has a major role to play in our society. Though entertainment is the key word of Indian cinema, it has far more responsibility as it impacts the minds of audiences.
यार ये 5-star होटल है कि स्कूल है?
आजकल के स्कूल किसी 5-star होटल से कम नहीं है।
जी पास चलिए तो घर में संडास चाहिए।
Cinema has become an integral part of Indian culture and actually binds the country together. People sit together and laugh, cry and enjoy. Indian cinema binds them. This is the narrative of cinema viewing today.
With the click of a button, unlock your narrative. The Film Facilitation Office's web portal is an endeavor to make India a film-friendly destination. The process of shooting commission has now gone online, and the web portal invites filmmakers and producers to shoot their feature films, reality TV shows, and commercial TV series in India. The web portal showcases India as a vast ecosphere of filmmaking resources, eases the filming process, and promotes co-productions between India and other nations. With its diverse cultural and heritage sites, forests and wildlife, rivers and islands, and a variety of locations with unexplored potential, the FFO web portal truly brings India to the world. Come home to your imagination. Come, film in India.
First of all, thank you for inviting me here, Mr. Khare. It was great to have spent some time with John Carroll a while back, and I was surprised with his empathy and sensitivity towards the complexities of this country's cinema. I must say, in a brief while, both of you have really kind of reached the pulse of where we struggle with and what our opportunities are. One thing which I would like to, if one has to, it's a complex subject. Cinema is very much part and parcel of our lives here. I don't see cinema as compartmentalized existence that people would see or would want to see it in a box way. It's very much part and parcel of everyday life. Whether it's a song or you would rarely find a country where the philosophy of that country or the wisdom of the country is expressed through popular songs. In this country, people remember life philosophy through film songs. They quote each other. When in crisis, they quote the songs, the dialogues of the film. But what we are going through in this country, truly, is the democratization of cinema. I think, as you would see in politics, you would see in business. If you see in business, we are going through startups. Today's youngsters want to have their own business. They want to start something on their own. So we're going to startups there. You see in politics, you see things have changed there. In terms of the privileges are ending, and you see newer people, fresher faces are entering the arena. Cinema, which used to be a privileged medium in India, हिम्मत वाले सिनेमा बनाते थे, truly जिनको कहना है वो शायद नहीं बनाते, because it was a tough thing to make a film. You required a lot of support, you required a lot of contacts, you required to know people and the whole ecosystem, and the ecosystem used to frustrate the hell out of people. Today with technology, today with the reach, today people like yourself sitting here and trying to reach out, I think the world is shrinking in that sense. And today's youngsters, and I said it in Cannes also a few 15 days back, that in India we can see so many people wanting to make films and being able to make cinema. I think you would be soon seeing, just with a mobile phone, a full-fledged film will be they'll be able to produce that. And John already talked about a film which he has just seen, which is done on mobile. So I think the fact that it was tough to make a film, that those days are over. And this is great sign for creativity, because we require stories not only from Bombay, Mumbai. We don't want stories only from Delhi. We want stories from all around the country. And those stories, if are difficult to reach, if the medium becomes so, convoluted, so intricate that you can't reach out, I don't think cinema would be, realizing or exploiting its full potential. Because to begin with, cinema is a storytelling medium. So I think cinema loktantra, as I would call it, this is the beginning of democratization of cinema in this country as you enter. And I also want to say that we should not use regional cinema and Bollywood as these terms, because there is Indian cinema, and every piece of cinema which comes out of this country is equal and is Indian cinema. Why sort of call them Bollywood or this wood or that? I think this is cinema of this country. So we will have to get rid of this nomenclature. Because this is prejudice. There is no charity happening here, because some language is, I think a great piece of art is a great piece of art. And we need to, also from your side, if our industry has to say something, or India has to say something to you, I would say cultural sensitivity. The question is, this is a 1,000-year-old civilization, thousands of years of storytelling has happened here. And it's a very different and a unique way of storytelling which happens. I will not get into the intricate sort of theory of it. But as I was telling you, yes, there is a kind of cinema which is linear in its appeal, which is what is going to happen is more important, and you want to see the end. A lot of cinema in this country is house cinema. How is it going to happen? So every dialogue is important, every song is important. So if the guy has entered, if the audience has entered or the person has entered late into the theatre, his first question to his fellow guy sitting next to him would be, have I missed the first song? His question is not going to be that, have I missed the story? Because story he's going to figure out. He knows willy-nilly what the structure is. But what he's there for is the moment. जिसे हम रसा उत्पत्ति कहते हैं. We were about creating the moment for him so that he gets immersed in that moment and creating various emotions. So he wants to come out of the theatre feeling overwhelmed with emotions. He has cried, he has laughed, he has gone on a journey, and that's the kind of storytelling which is one genre of storytelling in India. I wouldn't say that's the only way of telling stories, but that was very unique to this country. And I think, and there are many such things which probably we need to sensitize juries, people who watch cinema out there, because your organization and people like yourself can play a great role in taking a cinema beyond diaspora in the Western world. It's high time we know each other through our cinema. We might not be able to meet each other, but our cinema is almost an introduction and a crash course into a country's culture and subconscious, which is very difficult to do with one meeting or one introduction, but cinema does it so effortlessly. It tiptoes into your subconscious so beautifully that needs to be realized even more by your part of the world, and I would request that should happen. The third thing, last thing at which I will end is, and again I'm repeating myself, I said this in Cannes as well, what is the significance of film festivals, meeting like this, in the era when everything is beamed at you at your home? Why do you require to meet? What is the purpose of these festivals? I've been thinking about it, and what strikes me is that cinema is a collective art form, and you collectively create it. Say vis-a-vis a book you write, which is a very individual art form, where you write a book and you read a book and have an individual relationship with that. I'm not saying that cinema cannot have an individual relationship, please don't get me wrong, but there's a part of cinema which demands and asks you to be collective about even consumption of that cinema. Means I walked out of a theater and I'm dying to discuss that with someone. What these festivals do, what collective viewing does is that it allows you to consume a collective art form in its purest form, which is collective. So it's important that we promote collective viewing because it stirs up imagination, it gives birth to newer ideas, and those ideas have to be shared and discussed. That's very much part of the ethos of cinema viewing. So I think it's important that if we are inviting you to come for the film festival, and you probably go to many of them, it will be great if you would be here. Thank you once again for inviting me here, and I look forward to this partnership between you and India as our next step towards great cinema. Thank you very much.